year, John, father to 11-year-old Annabelle and 5-year-old Gabby, lost his job of 15 years when his company closed down. Less than a year later, his wife Crystal had to give up her full-time nursing job because their daughter Gabby had developed a severe seizure and migraine disorder. These two unfortunate events left this family in a position they never thought they'd be in, without enough money to feed their children at the end of the month. Sadly, this story is not unusual. It was shared as part of a series of stories called Hunger in America by an organization called Feed the Children earlier this year. There are a shocking number of kids like Gabby and Annabelle who are what is considered food insecure. Feeding America, in their 2014 study called Hunger in America, quotes the USDA's definition of food insecurity as not having reliable access to an adequate amount of food for an active and healthy lifestyle. This hunger insufficiency or food insufficiency crisis that our kids are facing, which many Americans aren't even aware of, can only be fixed if we all step up to help. After volunteering at several local food banks and doing some research on the food insufficiency crisis, I would like to share with you what I've learned about the need in our country, about how we can help meet this need, about what will happen if we don't meet this need, and specific things that we can do to take action. This affects all of us because the reality is that the kids in our very own city will go hungry tonight and tomorrow and the next day if we do nothing. So now that we have a little bit of a background on the food insufficiency crisis here in the U.S., I'd like to dig deeper into some of the details of the need. As many of the middle class and upper class Americans don't see hungry kids every day, it's easy to doubt the extent and the severity and the impact of this crisis. So about the extent, how many kids are affected? Well, even though things have improved since the 2008 economic crisis, there are still approximately 21% of children who are living in poverty here in the U.S. That's around 15.3 million children who are considered food insecure at this point. These statistics come from Feeding America's 2015 Child Hunger Fact Sheet. Gunderson et al. Did a study recently, earlier this year, called Map the Meal Gap, that showed that these statistics are not just coming out of specific, big cities, but are in fact in every county in the U.S. For instance, here in St. Johns County, there's 13.3% of people as of 2013 who are considered food insecure. That's more than 26,000 people. It's even worse in Duval County at 19.4%, which is over 169,000 people. So when is this most a problem for children? Well, Audrey Rowe, a USDA Food and Nutrition Service Administrator, said earlier this year, more than 21 million American children and teens depend on free or reduced-price school meals during the year. This means that these children have breakfasts and lunches during the school year, but are left without options for dinner when they get home or during summer break or winter break. So what about the effects of continual hunger? Well, not surprisingly, there are a multitude of studies that have shown that there are severe detrimental effects of both moderate and severe hunger on developing children. Some of these studies include hunger, its impact on children's health and mental health by Linda Weinrod et al., food insufficiency, family income, and health in U.S. preschool and school-age children by Catherine Lamo et al., and a summary of 15 other studies by Feeding America called Child Development. These studies have consistently shown that there are physical effects like chronic illnesses such as asthma, anemia, consistent stomach aches, headaches, colds, mental issues such as an increased risk for anxiety and depression, delayed development and learning difficulties, as well as behavioral tendencies such as school tardiness, hyperactivity, and fighting. So as I mentioned, the government does provide aid like school lunches or food stamps with the WIC program. However, there's still a substantial gap between the need and the aid available. So what can we do? Well, as a society, we need a change. However, that change can only happen if we as individuals step up and make a commitment. If we each take action for the Gabbies and the Annabelles in our county and share their stories with others, we can make a significant impact, not only for those individuals' lives, but also for the big picture statistics. Now, none of us would say we wanted somebody else to go hungry. However, there is a common objection to helping these people that they've made poor decisions and they need to lie in the bed they've made. And while there are natural consequences for poor decisions, the innocent children of those people making decisions shouldn't be the ones to suffer. In addition, many families like John and Crystal have done the best they can and have made all of the right decisions and honestly still can't make ends meet in this economy. Now that we understand the background, why does it matter if you and I act? Well, imagine that you're John or you're Crystal. At the end of the month, you have $20 left. What would you do? Would you buy food for your children? Would you pay the electric bill? Would you buy medicine for your daughter's migraine? Unfortunately, these are very real, impossible decisions that parents around the country are facing today. Another story from the Child Hunger in America series by Feed the Children, shared earlier this year, was of a little boy named Omarion. His mother, Samantha, worked hard, but was laid off from her job earlier this year. She found herself, like Crystal and John, not being able to feed her son before he went to bed at night. However, everything changed when she found a Feed the Children event in her area that was sponsored by people like you and me. She said Omarion was excited because he knew there was something in there that was going to help us. We were going to eat when we got back home. Stories like these pull at our heartstrings, but feeling bad for these kids doesn't do anything to practically help. So practically, what can we do? First thing we can do is to support our local food bank, either by volunteering our time or by giving donations of food or money. I know all of us are busy, but even just an hour or two a month can make a huge difference if we're all doing it. Second thing we can do is to help raise awareness. I was personally shocked when I found out that there were kids in my own backyard who were food insufficient. I thought that was only an issue in third world countries. And I suspect many other people would want to help also if they were aware of the crisis. So today we have unwrapped a frightening problem in our nation. Food insufficiency is substantial for millions of children in our nation. To change, we must start by committing as individuals to help. If we don't help, children in our nation will experience the fear of hunger, discomfort, and the effects of continual hunger. We can take specific steps like volunteering or donating to help solve this crisis. Our children are our nation's future, so I'll leave you with this thought. What could possibly be more important than investing in them?